Hello and welcome to my Legal English sessions. It is a channel designed specifically for you to expand your knowledge of legal English. So this video, which is the first video of the series, will be dedicated specifically to two international legal English examinations, namely TOLES and ILEC. So let's move on. First of all, to whom my videos are dedicated. Of course, everybody is kindly welcome, but I think that in particular, law firms, attorneys at law, advocates and judges dealing with English might be interested in deepening their knowledge of legal English. Of course, candidates for TOLES and ILEC and other examinations, and translators and students of English interested in expanding their expertise. I know how difficult it is, especially at the beginning of your career, so feel free and you are kindly welcome to join, to watch, to subscribe. Of course, all kinds of legal English freaks, if there are any, feel free to watch. Okay, so let's focus on TOLES. TOLES is a standardized assessment of legal English skills. It's a renowned examination assessing your knowledge of general and legal language. So, as a holder of the TOLES certificate, you may apply for the posts at major international law firms. So, it considerably increases your chances of developing your career as a practicing lawyer. TOLES provides you with qualifications necessary in your prospective legal career. So consider TOLES not a final goal, and in general, legal English examinations, not as a final goal, but as a means of achieving proficiency. Okay? So preparation for TOLES should be an excellent opportunity for you to develop your language skills, both general and specialized, meaning legal, beginning with terminology, through reading with understanding, to drafting legal documents. So when we talk about TOLES, you can actually take it at three different levels. The first one is TOLES Foundation. It corresponds to A2 to B1 level. Then we've got TOLES Higher, corresponding to B1 to B2 levels. And what is also important is that TOLES Higher and of course TOLES Advanced exempt you from language course at higher educational institutions. So it's important to bear in mind that universities and colleges may exempt you if you can submit the certificate proving that you have passed these examinations. When it comes to TOLES, it's composed of three different parts, or if we talk about foundation, it's only two parts. So we've got reading and writing, and beginning with TOLES Higher, we've got actually three parts. So reading, listening, and writing. When we talk about ILEC, it additionally contains speaking. Okay? So let's now focus on ILEC. ILEC is an abbreviation of International Legal English Certificate. As its name suggests, it certifies your language skills at an advanced level in the domain of international law. What is important is that ILEC is recognized by the law firms, government bodies, universities and colleges. So it assesses your language skills corresponding to B2 and C1 level, according to Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. So while TOLES can be taken at three different levels, ILEC is actually one. There is one level which roughly corresponds to B2 first, which is first certificate in English, and C1 advanced, which is CIE. So, as we mentioned, it's also recognized by the leading world organizations, and it's also worth to remember that it's recognized by the UK Border Agency when you apply for a visa. ILEC can be taken and is most commonly taken by the law students and by the practicing lawyers who wish to communicate and develop internationally. So if you want to gain clients from abroad, if you want to expand your market, okay, go international, then it's an excellent idea. It's an excellent choice to take the ILEC examination. So law students holding ILEC certificate are able to study abroad and later find a position as an international commercial law expert. Practicing lawyers may also find it easier to get promoted or gain a new employment prospects, like working in the domain of international commercial law. When it comes to skills, so the specific skills that should be mastered, the candidate of ILEC should be able to use the English language in everyday situations. This is what the general requirements. This is how it's specified in the general requirements. So you should also express your arguments clearly. Of course, we are now referring to the speaking part, and it should also allow you to participate actively in meetings and negotiations of legal nature. So if you are an owner of shares, for example, at an international company, you have to be able to take part in meetings, okay? And you should also be able to understand and produce legal documents. Right, so let's now move on to discussion of specific parts into which ILEC is divided. So it's composed of 4 parts. We've got reading, which lasts 1 hour and 15 minutes. We've got writing, also 1 hour and 15 minutes. Then we've got listening, 40 minutes, and speaking, 10 to 15 minutes. So a long time it takes, right? And then we've got the first part, which is reading. Of course, if you want me to discuss in detail each particular part, I will do it in my next video. And just let me know. So the reading test has 6 different parts. Altogether, you may obtain 54 points from this part. Okay, so part 1 is a multiple choice close. Part 2, open close. Part 2, word formation. Part 4, multiple matching. Part 5, gapped text. And part 6, multiple choice. So you've got 6 tasks actually to deal with. Then we've got writing. Writing has 2 parts. Both of them are compulsory. The first part is a letter of 120 to 180 words. This is, of course, included in the instruction, and you can gain 40% of the total score in this part. The second part, in turn, is a memorandum of 200 to 250 words, and it constitutes 60% of the total score. Okay, so the letter. The letter is actually a response to an input letter, so the letter that will be included, okay? And the instruction also contains 5 different points which should be included in your letter, okay? So the most common situation involves law-related issues. They are also outlined in the question. So the candidates read the letter related to the situation, and there are also the accompanying notes, so everything is clearly explained. Okay, the second part is a bit more difficult. It's a memo, yeah? And for this task, candidates are given a situation which requires them to write a detailed memo. Okay, so what it actually is. You are given, of course, a detailed instruction. You have to imagine that you work in a law firm and have to write a memo to a colleague. It may be that they are going on a break and have to pass their caseload to a colleague. For instance, this could involve them giving details related to a particular case. Another common scenario is that a colleague has asked for advice on what to include in a presentation he or she has to make. So it may involve different situations, all of them law-related. Candidates are also given points that they must address in the memo, such as outlining the case, explaining what has been done so far, what problems to look out for, or points to include in a talk and reasons. Okay, so what is very important is that you have to address all the points given in the input, because they are, of course, assessed. Okay. Then we've got the listening. The listening test is divided into 4 parts. We've got multiple choice. Actually, 2 tasks are concerned with multiple choice. In the first one, we have 3 short monologues or dialogues. In the second one, we have 1 dialogue between 2 or more people. In the third part, we have to complete the monologue. Based on the listening, you have to complete the sentences which contain gaps. Okay, and the fourth part contains the matching tasks. So you have to you have monologues and you have to match them. Okay, for this part you can obtain 30 points in total. Okay, the last part is speaking. And the speaking test is taken by pairs of candidates. You may, of course, take this part in groups of 3, but usually it's pairs. Only in exceptional circumstances, the examiner invites a group of 3 persons, okay? But the exam is never taken by 1 person, okay? You've got 2 examiners. One is your interlocutor and the other one assesses your language skills. So actually the speaking part lasts not so long, but you've got 4 distinct parts. The first part is an introductory part. Then we've got individual long turn. Then we've got the collaborative task, and then we have related questions and discussion. So the introductory questions are just to make candidates relaxed, because when they enter the classroom, when they enter the room, they are usually stressed. So the introductory questions are concerned with telling the examiner about your legal studies or your work, and they sometimes ask you your opinions on general law-related issues. So this is just a small talk, and these questions shouldn't be too difficult to answer, okay? And then it gets more difficult, but not that difficult, okay? So the second part is individual long turn. This is how it's called. So in this part, candidates have to talk for a minute about one particular topic. They are given a booklet with a choice of 2 topics. With each topic, there are suggestions of what to include in the talk should the candidates wish to use them. So it's important that you are aware that these points are not compulsory, so you don't have to include them. Okay? Once one of the candidates finishes their talk, the other candidate has to ask his or her partner a question about the talk. And the process is then repeated, reversed with the second candidate. So it does not matter whether or not they use all the prompts given, as I mentioned before. Okay? The thing that matters is that you continue to talk on the topic for 1 minute. Okay? So it's also important to remember that it's not a very long time, so you should be very concise, meaning that you shouldn't exceed the time limit. Okay? Then we've got the third part. It's the collaborative task. As its name suggests again, it involves the collaboration or cooperation of the 2 candidates. Okay, so you do it together with your partner. You are given a situation and you have to discuss what to do. So there is an element of problem solving. For example, you may have to decide what advice to give to a client. And for this task, you have 3 minutes. Okay, again, you are given the prompts, so some points to include in your discussion, but these points are not compulsory. Okay, so if you do not include them, you are not taking away the points. Okay, and the last part is related to questions and discussion. So the interlocutor asks candidates questions related to and developing the theme of the previous task. And they often involve giving an opinion. The second candidate may be invited to comment on the first candidate's response so that this stage becomes a mini discussion. So it's actually a follow-up to the third part. Okay, and this is actually what the speaking part is concerned with. So what the course comprises. So I will post several more videos on YouTube, and I hope you will enjoy watching my films. I will try to include the subject matter from all the most important major legal branches, like law and legal profession, real property law, contract law, like drafting, enforceability, breach of contract and remedies, tort law, and company law, of course, business entities, formation, expansion, conclusion of companies, then the civil litigation process, criminal law, employment law, competition law, international and EU law, environmental law, and some letters and forms. Okay, so of course, the content of the course to a considerable extent depends on the goal you wish to achieve, whether you are a law student who applies for a position at an international law company, whether you wish to pass the ILEC or TOLES examination. It of course depends. Okay, so the course is designed individually. It's tailored to your needs. Okay, so if you wish to get to know the details, they will be available in the link. So if you click after the course, if you click on the link below, you will be able to get to know the details about the course. Okay, and how do we work? So first of all, we work on authentic text. So I've got contracts, negotiations, simple judgments for you to work on. So lots of new vocabulary in context. It's very important because examinations such as TOLES or ILEC are designed so that they are based on realistic texts. Okay? And I would also like to motivate you to speak, to develop your speaking potential in a law-related situations. We all know how long it takes to break the ice, okay? Especially when it comes to communication. Of course, lawyers should be able to be communicative, okay? So maybe you won't have to employ an interpreter for your negotiations once you are able to translate it for yourselves, once you are able to talk to your clients in English, okay? We are also using official and recommended materials from Cambridge ESOL. The course also includes revisions and tests. I also have examination sheets, and I suggest that you do them after each covered unit. And what is also important is that the approach I offer is individualized, so it's tailored to your needs. As I mentioned, each individual has his or her own individual needs. And you may be a student, you may be a practicing lawyer, you may be a legal translator. So I discuss all your needs in the very beginning. And as usual, there is focus on communication and functionality. So it is also related to the next point, which is plain English. I want you to bear in mind that Latin expressions and the civil law approach is favored in Poland because our legal system is based on the Roman law, but common law lawyers are more used to plain English, to using plain language, which is very popular and very common. So I would like to focus on plain English during our classes. And what is also important is that I leave you with the choice of time. So when do you wish to take classes? Whether you want them to take place in the morning, in the afternoon, it all depends on your availability. Okay, so thank you for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as I said, you are free to click on the link below to get to know the details of the course. So thank you once again, and see you next time. Bye.